Oof.
Hey, before we begin, man, let's just say a prayer.
Yeah, I
And
was gonna say, man, let's pray for real. I'm done with prayer. Let's
all
go.
right, Father, I thank you for my brother Josiah, and this opportunity to just talk with him and talk about what he's doing, God, and really get into that. I pray you bless the conversation, let it be edifying to the hearers, and just be powerful, and use it in whatever way you want.
Amen. Yes, thank you, Lord, for opportunities, man. This is good. This is really good.
Yeah, I got my tea here, so I'm ready to go.
Bro, let me quickly fill up my water bottle. Actually,
Yeah, all right.
I gotta stay hydrated, bro.
That's the key. That's the key.
Stay with you, bro. I really want to read that book. Actually, you know DJ Khaled's book.
Maybe which one?
I feel he's got a book. I think it's called like Major Key or something. Well, it's like I think he gives some advice. Oh, right, bro. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
All right. Besides, it's always good to talk to you. I'm really excited to have this conversation. Like every time we call, it's always good. It's all
It's always alive, bro. It's
yeah.
good vibes. It's really good.
All right. So we're gonna dive in a little bit to your what you've been doing with fashion and how you. I really want to hear and record. So for whoever is listening,
Mm.
um, the story, the journey, like how you got to where you are right now, what inspired you. I want to know the different crazy connections that have happened that have led you to where you are now with what you're doing. I want to hear all about it, man.
Yeah. So, bro, this mad story just kind of it began really out in Australia. You know, where you were, where I
Yeah, I
was,
remember.
bro, like 2018. Was it 2018? No, it was 2019
20,
actually.
yeah, yeah.
So like, yeah, it'd been the turn of the year, and I think like so in that July, um, that's when I'd had my baptism and stuff. So I came out to Australia, and that was a big like faith journey for me. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like being out there. And I met a guy called like Michael Wilmot, who we both know well. Um, and I was just speaking to him, bro, and I just remember just being like, "Yo, man, like I wanna do something.
Yeah.
Like I want to do something, like because I felt like I had this like massive experience. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with God and stuff, and so I was just like, I don't know, I just feel like I want to do something. I want to put it somewhere. I want to like express it,
I
and I
remember
think,
so this might not have been like a key moment, but I remember we were walking downtown Perth at like I don't know 2 a.m. or something like that. Like we did,
oh yes, man, I forgot
and
about that walk.
and we
I
were
forgot
talking
about that
about
walk.
art and we were talking about fashion and how do you make a difference, and you were talking about your inspiration for fashion, and you're like,
Yeah,
and you and Mike were talking about, and somebody was like, why don't we just like make it, let's not make shirts with Bible verses on it, because that
yeah,
like we want everything about us to reflect God, but let's not make shirts with Bible verses on it. But how about we make a shirt that just has verse? Like I
yeah.
remember.
I think what it was just like,
Yeah.
we were guys like on fire, like for God, man. Like we wanted to, express like our own faiths and stuff. It was kind of just like, this amazing things happened. Like I've been saved. You know what I mean? Like I want to put it somewhere. And I think like from there, bro, I was just like, okay, like what we're gonna do. But I was very aware. Like I feel like the year after, I knew that I didn't want to make something that I felt I was just kind of like, I don't know, that had none of me in it, if that made sense as well. And that might sound really selfish, and it might even sound wrong or heretical or whatever. But I was just kind of like, if I'm gonna do something creative, sustainably, like it needs to be true. Like it needs to be real to who I am and my own personal experiences. Like I'm fine, do you know what I mean, writing Bible verses on clothes. I think it could look great, but at the same time, it's like I didn't just want to be like just like churning this stuff out. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to kind of just be like um yeah, just kind of being quite generic. Like I wanted to make it like individual to me, if that makes sense, in terms of the brand. So yeah, me and Michael, anyway, we're talking about ideas, and we had this idea for a clothing brand. And I think initially we were like, oh, we could call it Verse. And at that point, we were thinking about like writing like Bible verses like on clothes and stuff, and it'd be, you know, a great way to like spread the word of God and stuff. But like, I feel like the more I thought about it, the more I was like, right, okay, that's not all I want to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I actually want to dive like a bit deeper into what fashion is as well, and kind of like put deeper meaning into the products um, that we're making as a whole. Like, I want the God of this to be more than just the words. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to print some like trash hoodie and then just like put a Bible verse on it and then just be like, okay, this is good art. Because I think there's more to art than just like words on a hoodie. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to say something, and it has to say something true to you. Like authentic, we use that a lot, but I think of it more in terms of being aligned with what's real in your experience, and not, I mean, we hear this a lot in the art world, but not selling out, not for commercial gain. Obviously, you want to make money so you can do that full time, but it's what's true to you, what's real, what is actually an expression of who you are. And I think that's kind of where what keeps it art is, where it's actually an expression of who you are.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that aspect, and it's weird. I feel like the more that I've kind of like researched or delved into it, like I'm not an art student, you know what I mean? But I feel like in my own way, like I take an interest in reading about this stuff, do you know what I mean? And trying to understand and trying to learn. Um, and I think the more that I've kind of like dove deep into, say, personal expression or art as a whole, the more I've kind of wanted to incorporate other art forms like
Yeah.
surrealism and impression, like creating an impression to people, you know, taking something that I like or I appreciate that maybe isn't necessarily a personal expression, but it's something that I've seen that I want to like transfer to someone else, or I want someone else to receive something of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's also like kind of played a part in what I'm doing as well. So yeah, out in Australia, I had that idea. And then, bro, it was a long time after that we actually like printed the first like garment. So like, I think it was like maybe a year after, maybe a bit over a year after. I was in my room and I was painting the sunflower, and I actually have the sunflower on me. Like, that was like the first design. So this, if you can see it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm seeing it.
So this is the flower on the hoodies, and I was literally just in my room and I was like, oh, I'm gonna paint this. And like as I was painting it, like I just literally just like had this vision of the black and white print like being on a hoodie. I was like, I literally just saw it. And I think like that's definitely like something I see as like a gift. Do you know what I mean? Like to myself, it's like it's just the way that I see things. I see a lot of things in like clothes, if that makes sense. Like I see outfits. Like, you know how people have like a vision for different things. Like, for example, like I've got a mate Malachi who's like, he'll just come up with melodies like for music.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll just be like getting the metro somewhere and he'll just be like start singing these hooks. I'm like, where does this even come from? But like he just has them. Right? It's just like his gift, you know what I mean? It's like something in him where he can just like make, I don't know, he just hears stuff. And for me, I think it's just like I feel like I see outfits, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, that's kind of like I saw that, and then yeah, we just made it happen. Um, and I knew some friends who did printing and embroidery.
Mhm.
It's like one of my old kind of like not basketball coaches, but it was a guy who worked at the basketball club. He quit that job and ended up like doing printing and embroidery.
Right.
And yeah, he set up a business, and with his brother, or joined his brother's business. And yeah, I went to him and I was like, look, I've got this idea. And my sister, who's a graphic designer, she helped me like transform the drawing into like this three flower like digital piece that could be printed. And we printed it, and I bought a load for like my family, um and a couple of friends to promote it, and then we just put it on Instagram. And I'm not sure how much of the story you want. Do you want literally up until this point?
Uh, if let's cut the beginning short a little bit, because I want to hear more about some of the different things you're doing now and how
Okay.
those came about. But you like that, so that was your first print, and Instagram, like it seems like there's a lot of interest, and I've seen different people, like quite a few different people and different influencers wearing some of the stuff that you're making now.
Mm.
But then that was your first print. That was your first drop. Then you had, I think, two different printings of that design, right? Or was it a little bit more than that?
Yeah, so initially, man, it was just like, it was actually a mistake. And this is one of the things that I kind of wanted to speak about. Like, because that was the only hoodie that I wanted, was like the white hoodie. I was like, that's
Yeah.
what I had the vision for. But then like something weird happened on my phone. I don't know what it was. It was just like this color thing. And basically I had a picture of the white hoodie, but it went gray. Like, it was just, honestly, it was mad. It went gray and it had like this white pocket. And I remember seeing it and just being like, yo, that looks dope. Like, that looks
Right.
so cool. I
Yeah.
was just like, yo, like, okay, so like maybe we could do different colorways. Um, so then I got my brother, I printed a gray one for my brother, Theo, and he's a model, so like he looked good in it. But I
Yeah.
think he suits that color like well as well. And we did a couple shoots, and yeah, I just put them up, bro. And we sold like a good few, to be fair. Like early on, to friends, family, people I didn't know, which was nice as well. And yeah, it really, the whole thing just really took me back to that kind of that verse that's like verse that that's kind of like, with faith of the size of a mustard seed, like you can say to this mountain, like throw in this, like go in the sea and it will, basically.
Mhm.
um and it's just like that whole, like the first part, like the faith of a mustard seed, it was just like this whole thing, like what it's become now, was literally like a vision. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's just like, I think if I want to do anything, bro, it's like, in terms of encouraging people, like I want people to kind of like those ideas that just pop into people's head. Do you know what I mean? That they might like quickly dismiss and be like, oh no, that works. Like, I don't know. Like, I want to encourage people to kind of like follow them through, because I think they can be great. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, that's something like a year now, it's 3 years ago, just that idea. And now like you have quite a few different people on your team working with you. And how many different design drops do you have? Because I know you moved to an exclusive um drop style just to maintain the integrity of the art, really. Your every design you only print a certain amount of, and that's it. How many drops have you had now?
So we've had one. So we had the Grass Brothers drop. We had the Echo of the Upright drop, which is the second one. So they were like the two big collections.
Mhm.
Um, and then I did a collaboration with Jack on the tea towel. So we had that. So that was kind of like the third drop. Um, and then I'm trying to think if we had a have we had a second collaboration? No, I think that's it at the moment. We've had three like official kind of like sets of product releases.
Mm.
Um, yeah, with a load of different like garments. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, recently, like two of our collaborations haven't. No, I don't want to say fell through, but they've been pushed back like quite a bit, just for like different reasons. But yeah, by now we're hoping to drop other things. But we had a supplier who closed down. Our main supplier closed down, and the second supplier, like we haven't been able to kind of like progress like fully with, in terms of like putting out a lot of clothes. Like they had a machine that broke that we needed, and so it's just been long, man, like trying to trying to
Yeah.
like almost like rebuild relationships with suppliers, getting them printing again.
Right.
So yeah, we've had three, but yeah, hopefully we'll have more soon.
Okay. What for some of those, that's something I wanted to ask you about is, I mean, we have the first rose that you had for your first drop, or your initial.
Sunflower.
Yeah, I keep calling it a rose just because I've never seen a sunflower in
You
black.
know what it is?
I know
You
it's
know
not.
what it is?
What's
Bro,
that?
I put a poll up and I was like to people, what do you think this flower is? Do you think it's a sunflower, a rose, or like there was another thing? And I think most people thought it was a rose, to be fair.
Yeah.
But like, yeah,
Well,
no, it's just
rose, rose is what you always see in black and white. You don't. So that's my bad. My bad, man.
it's cool, don't worry.
Yeah. So I was curious, your first collaboration. Um,
Mm.
what's the story behind that? Because I feel like there's a story there.
Oh, bro, there's a story to everything, man.
So,
Yeah, so that was with a guy called Jack. He's quite the artist. He's a co-owner of the East Bristol Contemporary Art Gallery, um, which is down in Bristol. But yeah, basically, that came through prayer as well, bro. Like, so like literally, I felt really lost. I think it was last year. I felt like, bro, I just felt like so lost. I was just like, I don't know who to talk to. Kind of like, this was in terms of kind of like mates when I was at university. Because I came back from Australia and I'd linked up with like a few friends and stuff, which was nice. But I don't know, like I was on campus, like I didn't really know that many people. And so I was just like, yo, man, I just need some mates. I need someone to call that I can like really connect with.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And yeah, so I just prayed, bro. I was like, okay, I'm gonna pray about it. And then this guy Jack came into my mind, like when I was praying, and I was like, like maybe I should reach out to him. So what I did was I literally, I think I called him or messaged him, and he invited me to stay with him for 3 days.
That's awesome.
Down in Bristol. And so like we went round. I had a super nice time in Bristol. It was like a serious city, very, very arty, kind of edgy city. Saw some of his friends, some of the people he lives with. And yeah, no, that was good. And then literally, bro, like on the last day, because I was sleeping in the top room, so in his like house. So he lives in like a flat share.
Yeah.
And like so I was sleeping in the top room. And like literally on the last day, like I saw this stack of like tea towels like in the corner of his room. And I just kind of like went over and I looked through them. I was like, what are these? And he was like, oh yeah, these are printed tea towels. Like I've made them, but I don't know. He just kind of had like a stash there. And I was like, oh, these are really cool. Like, how would you feel about me taking some of them, kind of like stitching a TATYA Verse label on them and kind of like making it like a collab piece that I can put on the website? And he was down for it, man. And so I was just like, bro, I'm talking, this is literally like the last like maybe 12 hours that I was with him. And so like I think I took like 15 of them, took them home, gave them to my mum and my grandma who sew all the labels on everything that we do. And then brought them back to uni, took a bunch of photos. I actually gave some to a photographer to take, a photographer called Keely. And yeah, put them on the website, bro. And we sold a few of them now. And I've like given some away as like presents and that. But yeah, so that was like our first color lab piece. And you know, Jack obviously gets like a cut from you know the sales that go, and it's worked well. And I really enjoy collaboration. I think it's awesome to get an insight into like the different ways in which artists perceive the world apart from you, because you have your own like artistic lens, and sometimes like people can see through that. But I feel like it's nice to see someone else's kind of like angle on the world, creative angle.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. I did not know that was the story behind that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
And
bro.
it sounds like, are you guys planning on doing another collab sometime, or not sure right now?
Oh, what with Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that would be awesome. We're not like currently in talks about doing like anything right now, because I'm kind of like in talks with like two people at the moment that I'm trying to kind of like work that through with.
Right.
But yeah, man, like I would love to like collaborate with Jack again. Yeah, I think we could do something really cool.
It sounds like too that moment, that product, and that piece of art, was exactly what you needed to be re-energized and to have like, to keep going. It came at the right moment for that.
Bro, honestly, like that was I hesitate to call it like saving grace or whatever, but it was just literally like that, because we couldn't release a collection because of these two of our suppliers basically being down. Like I knew that like I needed to kind of like fill the gap until we could like get something like up and running again. And honestly, I didn't even go to Bristol with the intention of collaborating. Do you know what I mean? This was just to see a friend. Like, but I went down there, and you know, thankfully, like the Lord graced me with an opportunity to collaborate and fill the gap. And so I was just like, yeah, I'll do it. Do you know what I mean? And it's worked well. It would have been good if we could have had like something else again as like a follow-on, because I feel like it has been a bit of time since that collaboration. But no, I'm really pleased that we got to put that out there, and you know, it's brought joy to people, and you know, that's you know what I want to do.
Right.
I want to bring joy through art. So yeah.
Yeah. What actually, that leads me to another question I wanted to ask you today. What do you want to leave people with? You want joy, right? But what does art speaks to people? Is there something particular you want your art to speak to people?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's quite well. Is it difficult? I don't know whether it's difficult, but it's just like, yeah. So like we have our own, you know, sources of inspiration, in terms of what we do. So it's like very core to like what we're doing is like the gospel, the Christian message. Do you know what I mean? That's something. I think what it was is like I'd gone through a big time whereby I felt like I'd expressed my faith in like a way that wasn't really true to who I was. Not true, but just like it wasn't really, let's just say it wasn't really sustainable for my personality. Do you know what I mean? We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But I felt like
yeah.
creation and kind of artistic expression as a lane of ministry, kind of, it made sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So I think, you know, like in our designs, we infuse a lot of like kind of like biblical themes, which I really enjoy. Like it's great to, you know, kind of just educate people in that way. Do you know what I mean? Just show people a side or put some words in that people maybe haven't came across before. You've probably seen like the definition stuff that we do on the stories. Like I kind of I want education to be like a big part of this. Do you know what I mean? Like I kind of, although I want people to, you know, appreciate the clothes, enjoy wearing them, and, you know, take an interest in the messages that we put across. Like I want like I want to teach people about fashion, about words, about vocabulary, like about things to do with the brand, so they can get like a really big kind of like scope of like what we're doing. But yeah, I'm kind of coming away from the question a little bit.
No, this is all really good. And that's something, as you were talking, I just realized what the vibe I've always gotten from your designs is very Tolkien. Like it's where it's like not saying anything specifically, but it's very much pulling. Like I don't know. Have you heard of the debate C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien had when they were writing? Of
No.
where C.S. Lewis wanted to just basically take the Bible and make stories, make it into kids' stories. Where Tolkien was like, I want to create art, but I know that when I create real art, because I'm creating it and God is so important to me, that's going to come out. And that's kind of what it sounds like you're doing, of where it's like you want to create real art, but also since that's an expression of you and you are so founded on Christ, that's going to show. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's a really tough battle, I'll be honest, man, because like you can kind of feel inadequate in a way. You can kind of feel like you're not as good as the preacher, or you're not as good as like the person who's out there, like I don't know, whether it's like on the front line, or I don't know, you can just, as an artist, you kind of you see, you definitely question yourself in terms of like how, I don't know how, oh, sorry, that's just the charge on my phone. Like how like true to Christian you are. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're not being obvious enough. You're not talking about Jesus enough. You're not. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not talking about God all the time. Like why are you not doing that? And it's just like, I feel like with anything that you actually truly admonish, you don't just blurt stuff out about them all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a bit like, obviously
you copy them, you try to reflect them, right?
exactly, man. And I think like one thing that I feel like has been instilled in me, like from God, is like it's like mystery. Do you know what I mean? Metaphor, understanding. Like it's almost like that wisdom thing. It's kind of like it's that wanting to kind of. What I'm fascinated by is like, I would say limits.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a limit thing. I'm really fascinated by the pull. Do you know what I mean? The fact that I can say to you, I've got something to tell you, right?
Yeah.
And then you be like, oh, like what is it? And then if I tell you, it's kind of like you have your satisfaction.
It loses the suspense.
Yeah, exactly. But if I tell you like something that kind of like I don't know, makes you think more or want it more.
Yeah.
It kind of like there's like a power in that. Do you know what I mean?
There's a depth, yeah. And
there's
that's it just playing with you. Like when we used to jam in Perth, like there was, I think depth is definitely something that I'd always would use to describe you. Is it like that? And you always do come across as like there's something that you're thinking about that you can't put into words, so you can't share.
Yeah, it's weird, bro, isn't it? It's
yeah.
But it's exciting. For me, it's exciting. And for me, it's joyful. Do you know what I mean? For me, it creates so much happiness in my life. Like having whatever it is, do you know what I mean? I see it as like a space.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, it's how I really enjoy my relationship with God. Do you know what I mean? It's something that I, praise God because of. It's something that leads me to that awe. Do you know what I mean? That like, and it's also something that I want other people to enjoy as well. And I think because it's always been something that I've admired in other people, like it's something that I've wanted to like incorporate into my own character. Do you know what I mean? And so like through my baptism and like being reborn again, it's been something that I've been able to enjoy. Do you know what I mean? And so yeah, I mean, I question myself so much all the time on like whether I'm being open enough with my faith, because sometimes it kind of feels like I'm hiding it. But I think I need to get more confident in kind of being like, okay, I'm not hiding it. I'm just like giving it a depth. And I think sometimes when you give things depth, like you kind of you
Yeah.
want to add value to it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's even,
Yeah.
sorry, I know I'm talking a lot here, but it's like,
No,
it's even with
sorry.
like a diamond. If you have a diamond, you don't just like, it's that verse, but again, like, don't cast your pearls before swine. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you don't take everything that's really valuable to you and just like chuck it out. So like, it can be like trodden on. I feel like some things you kind of like need to take care of. And like, when I think of Jesus, it's like, he's someone to me who like I want to handle well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't want to just be like shouting for the sake of shouting.
Right.
Like, I want to kind of like add some value to him. Do you know what I mean? And I think like one of the ways I do that is kind of like through intricate design, complexity, detail, depth, like you say.
Mm-hmm.
And these are all things that, you know, I associate with brand.
And that's yeah. And just kind of to build off of what you're saying, it's like that depth. Poetry has always been so powerful for a reason, and that's because it doesn't say there's proverbs that are helpful, but poetry is powerful because it allows you to explore and to search for yourself. It gives you everything. It gives you the truth in a way that forces you to chew on it and search for it, and try to get to the depth of the truth, right? And like that, I mean, that's what art is, and that's why it's always been so powerful. You can just tell someone something, but if they have to search for it and work for it, it means so much more, right?
Bro, and there's power in that. Sorry, I'm just looking for my charger real quick, my phone charger, because I really don't want my phone to die.
Yeah. All right. I was just gonna say too, that's something that being newly married that I've been learning quite a bit is
To always keep your phone charger handy.
no, yeah, but no, just because you don't have to be in the chase, or doesn't mean you shouldn't. Like the working for and earning is a lot of joy, like to working through that deeper truth, right? Yeah, I don't know how to put it exactly into words anymore, but like that's why I've always appreciated art, is exactly what you've been saying about not wanting to just like allowing people to search for it themselves and to
And bro, like, I don't like, there's a reason that I don't want to kind of like go like too much further. Like, I don't know, like, I guess, yeah, there's a reason why I don't want to go like too much further like into that, because I think like it's good, and I would probably talk to you like if I felt like this wasn't getting shared, do you know what I mean? Like, maybe we could explore that concept deeper. But like, yeah, no, it's really powerful, and I think like the deeper we go into that, like that's really like core to the brand. But I don't want to share that, if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah. I wanted to ask you, the white and the black, everything you've done, no color.
No color. No color allowed. Yeah, but I'm very mistake, just like monochrome only. Yeah, no, I think it's interesting, bro. I think initially, like, that was just the vision. Do you know what I mean? It was just like I drew the initial drawing with a black biro pen on white paper, and I thought it would look good on a white hoodie. And the color schemes initially were just white, gray. And actually, there's an interesting story behind the black hoodie as well, how that came about. That wasn't even my idea, but it's been like our most popular hoodie. So it's like, it just shows like how like other people's ideas, do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you'll not even be thinking, and then God will use someone to say something that you hadn't even considered. You know what I mean? I'll quickly, sorry, I want to sidetrack into that story because I like that story.
All right, let's go that story first, and then yeah.
So basically, I was at my dad's house, right? And he lives around the corner from this coffee shop called like Color Codes Coffee. Very appropriately taking a sip of coffee.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was in the so like we were waiting because like they've got this little like bit outside that you can like stand like they dish coffee out of, just like window service kind of thing. And so we were standing in the queue, we're waiting, and honestly, I love the food from there, man. It's probably nice, and me and my dad go there quite a lot when I'm back. And I saw this guy in the queue that I knew, and he's actually like a music producer, and he produces songs for my mate Malachi, who I was talking about before, and he's done like his own stuff and that. But I was talking to him. And I think he was complimenting the brand. He was saying like, "Oh yeah, I've seen the hoodie stuff you've been doing. Like, it's pretty cool." And this is before it was even TATYA Verse. Like, this is when it was just like there was no name. It's just like Josiah's hoodies that he's selling on Instagram. And so I was just like, and we were cracking on. And it's like, "Oh, you know what would look really good? Like, if you did like a black long sleeve with like white flowers on, like inverted them." And initially, I didn't want to do it like a t-shirt at that point. I can't remember. Maybe it was because it was cold, or just like I just wasn't ready to expand into t-shirts at that point. But like I was speaking to him, and I was thinking, you know what, that could be a good idea. So like took the idea back, kind of ended up making this black hoodie, and it looked like sick. And so I was like, yeah, no, this is good. It was the first one we'd done whereby like the pen that I'd used, the color of that had been inverted to white. And so it looked a bit different, but it looked nice. And yeah, I put it on the website. No, I put it on Instagram. Like I put a picture of me like wearing it on Instagram. And it just got like ridiculous feedback, like from people that like I didn't know either. Not that I didn't know, but you know how you've got those people who will comment on your photos who you've known for like a long time, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just nice. They're just like hyping you up, making you feel good for a bit. But this was like people who like I've met like once or twice, do you know what I mean? Like commenting, being like, "Yo, these hoodies are hard, man." And so so I was like, "Raw, like this could be good." And then yeah, we incorporated them on the website, like when the whole thing became TATYA Verse. And like I've got a mate here at uni who's like, "Bro, this is the best thing on the site." Like, and that mate of mine, PJ, I got him to like model like some of the stuff, and he's a model now. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, not saying that all came from the back of the room, but, you know what I mean? Like it's it's no, it's exciting, bro. It's like there always seems to be like some story to like, you know, just different pieces. Even the tote bag, you know, that's a whole nother story. I don't know like how long we've got time for that, but it's just like that wasn't my idea either. That was someone else's idea.
It just came together.
Well, basically, like, so I've got this mate, yeah, called Sammy, who's got a sister, and he runs his own clothing brand actually as well, Whitley Bay Yacht Club, and like it was quite cute actually when I first like launched stuff, like we like swap clothes. So he gave me like Whitley Bay Yacht Club t-shirt, I gave him like some TATYA Verse stuff. It was just nice. And yeah, his sister, like she was like, "Oh, why don't you make bags? Like I could make bags." So she had these old curtains, right? And she has stitched a bag, like a tote bag from like old curtains. And I was like, and then I took that bag. I think it was maybe two or three of them. I think it was two. She made two tote bags, and I took them, printed on them, and then I think we gave them to like both our parents. So like I gave one to her mum and one to my mum. But they were just sick, and I like the idea how it was like recycled from old curtains. I was just like, that's quite cool.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like after that, it became unsustainable to like make every single tote bag because like people started buying a few. Like I've sold the tote bags are probably what I've sold the most of. Like since the start, maybe I don't know. We sold a lot of like white hoodies and stuff, but yeah, so like I started printing them instead. I was like, okay, we'll not get you to make every single tote bag because it just became complicated to try and work out like how we'd finance it, like all this kind of stuff, getting the same curtains all the time, just loads of factors like played in. But yeah, I ended up like printing the tote bags instead. but like what we've done is like we've kept her name next to the sunflower that's printed on the tote bag, just as kind of like a little, like, I guess you could say memory or testimony to like her idea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like every sunflower we have on the tote bag, it's got like Yasmin Nasri's like signature like next to it. Yeah.
That is awesome.
And
And yeah, I think you were talking about it with the drops that are coming out that haven't come out yet. You're going to start some of these stories behind how the different things have come together. You're going to be putting with those drops, right? Like giving a little bit of what the story was with each piece of clothing that you're selling now.
Yeah, I mean, we've actually already done that on the website. So like we've added like little descriptions that kind of give like the backstory of how like each piece kind of like came together. But yeah, no, that's definitely something I want to continue with, because I think, yeah, it's always, I think initially I was worried about how much I wanted people to see the brand, like see the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Not necessarily behind the scenes stuff, because I shared a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but I think like how much they knew about the brand. I think I was quite closed about it initially, but now I'm kind of like, I realize the importance in terms of like, if someone's going to buy into something, they kind of need to, it's helpful for them to know more about it as well. So and it's not even just from like a consuming point. It's not, I'm not just doing it so they can buy more. It's like I generally want people, I'm more comfortable now with people knowing more about what I'm doing. So
right,
yeah,
it's the process. Well, it's also the process, the art behind it as well. It's just that story behind it adds so much depth to the art, right? For me, like that's kind of the way I see it. But it depends on the person, and yeah, you have to also keep that mystery there too. But the black and white, that's something that's really interested me, like when we talked a little bit about it before, and I'd kind of like to, yeah, sorry, I was switching back there to that.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah,
we're going on tangents a lot here, but
oh, they're all good. They're all good, man.
I think I've watched too many Kanye interviews. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I like the way he talks in symphonies. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Do you say the way he talks in symphonies?
When I remember watching one of his interviews, I can't remember who it was where, but he was just saying about how when he talks in a symphony, like he brings like loads of things together to make one thing rather than just kind of like talk about one thing. One time, but yes, black and white. Yeah, bro, there's a lot of metaphors in black and white that I love to explore, and love to portray and put across. And I think, that's one of the main reasons I work with monochrome. Initially, it was the vision, but I feel like there's a lot of things you can do with black and white. And so yeah, that's why I use black and white. And also I find a lot of beauty in monochrome as well. It's not to say that I hate color or anything, but I feel like black and white is just definite, isn't it? It's absolute. Like it's the two, to me, it's like the two strongest points of like, I don't know, it's just light and dark, isn't it? I don't want to talk about all the things that I try and put across in it, but it's just like, you can think about good and evil. Do you know what I mean? Like black and white, like I don't know. There's lots, and
there's a lot of levels to it. But do you think there's ever going to be a TATYA X VERSE drop with color?
Ooh, bro, that would be saying something. I can't spill that information. That's undisclosed right now, bro.
All right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you really you feel like you need to share? Because there's been so many different stories, and like always, man, it's just a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, no, I think it's been good to chat to you. I think it would be good to share about like what we've been doing. Do you know what I mean? A bit kind of like
recently,
maybe like what we're looking to do potentially in the future if you have time.
Yeah, let's I'd love to hear it,
because I think you know, like if you want to, maybe if you want to talk a bit about what you do in terms of
Oh,
like
yeah.
your market and kind of like how you could potentially become involved, you know, in TATYA Verse in the future. But yeah, just maybe talk about, you know, your experience of like from the outside kind of looking in, but hopefully from the inside looking out in the future at some point, just what your experience has been like around the brand and your involvement, and also just like your own market and stuff as well.
Okay. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah,
Always yours.
all right. Just looking in, man. Like I was saying before, just you in general, you have these levels of depth, and there's always like I can feel. I've always been able to kind of just feel from you the vibe of there's things that you're learning that you want to express, but you have to find the ways to. And there's like things that you have to say that are worth hearing, but you don't know how to put into like you are still figuring out how to put into words. And so to just kind of like be listening, that's the way I've processed it. But I mean, like it's that depth, right? Of where there's a lot under the surface that's seeking to find a way out. And people should stay tuned and pay attention, because when it comes out, it's not going to be easy to understand, but it's going to be worth it. Right.
Oh, bro, thank you, man. That's beautiful to hear, my guy. Like, I appreciate that, man. Sure.
And it's the same thing that once I started to see you putting out clothes, like that's the same vibe I got like right away from those clothes. Is like there's something here that you're saying with it, but it's not going to be obvious. Right. It's not going to be obvious to the wearer or the person who sees it what it is that it's being said, unless they really think deeply about it.
You know what, bro? I'm so happy that came across, and I feel like you're not the only person that has said that to me. Do you know what I mean? As well, like I've had people like talking and say like, oh, I really need to read into this. Like I feel like there's something like behind it, and I think, you know, that's exciting. That's exciting because I think that was almost like exactly what the aim was, do you know what I mean, with the brand. And it's hard to guard that. It's hard to kind of keep things that way. You know, maybe sometimes I feel like I'm being, you know, way too abstract. And I'm like, how are people going to get what I'm talking about from this? And sometimes I feel like I'm being too obvious. But yeah, no, it's definitely finding that kind of like, yeah, that point.
We'll have to talk about this more later, but Matt, there's a tattoo that I've been wanting to get, but I've never had anyone be able to design it just right. So I'm going to talk to you about that.
You're going to design the whole thing, bro.
Yeah. You're going to design my whole sleeve. So,
that's my responsibility right there, bro.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that more here soon. But yeah, no, that's it's to me looking in, like that's what I see. And then I see like those collaborations and like what you're talking about, like bringing together different people trying to express something and using clothes, using like with the tote bags, using accessories to express something deep and something true, something true to you, right? And that's something like I know, just because I know you, I know everything you do is going to be like that. Like you can't live without being authentic. And that's something, you know, with a lot of the different ways we see Christianity presented, we don't see that. So you're having to carve kind of your own path with this, where it's like you don't want to say something packaged, you don't want to say something basic or simple, you want to say something true to you. And you want to make sure who you are points to God, because that is the core of who you are, right?
Yeah.
That's
a good observation, bro, because I think like yeah, carry on what you're gonna say.
Yeah, no, that for me looking on, that's kind of what I've seen. And then yeah, as far as some of like what's next, man, I mean, when we talk, I like marketing. I like, how do we tell? For me, I think I like marketing, but I see marketing as how do we tell the story in a way that more people want to hear, right? So for me, hearing your story, I'm like, how do I work with you or help you figure out, get your story and what you're doing. And just for me, I just love it. Like art, and art in a new way, like fashion, like you're talking about Kanye, like taking that art on in a different medium, and saying something deep and real, and authentic with it. Like, how do I be part of getting that out, and for more people to hear? And I think like what you're talking about, just allowing people to see more of what's powerful to me is when you see those paintings in galleries, they have that little postcard next to it, and they have the medium, they have the artist, so the date, right? And then sometimes they have a little bit of information about the background of where it was designed. And then in bigger museums, or like for the bigger painting, like more important paintings, they have a little bit more of a story, right? And so part of what made Mona Lisa so incredible is, like, if you just look at the painting, like when I was younger, I looked at the painting, I'm like, what's so incredible about this? As I got older, I realized nobody knows how it was made. And I would have never known that unless someone told me, because I would not have looked closely enough, or I wouldn't have noticed that, right? You see some of the different things with, for example, I think it's Rembrandt's Night Watch, right?
Yeah.
You don't realize how much he's playing into the light and the dark and the chaos and the energy, unless you start to realize a little bit of the history or the context of what was going on, with those local city militias, right? And where they were at, and what he was supposed to do. Like, you don't realize the weight of that. And so that's something that I love that you're doing more of, is that little bit of the story, giving the medium, kind of giving it that postcard to your different drops, to your different clothing. I mean, it'd be really cool if you just send that postcard with, I don't know what it's called, like the prompt,
bro,
with each thing you send out, because what you do is, to me, like, that level, it is art. It deserves to be recognized in that same way. But like, if you're doing some of that and just really having people be part of the story, right? They're not wearing clothing, they're being part of the story. They're being part of the creation of the art, really, because until clothing is worn, it's not clothing. And that's the final step of taking your art, creating your art, right?
Yeah.
So that's some of, like, and hearing what you're doing, what I think, like, would add the next level of the completion is fully, as fully as you can, taking the clothes that you're making, and acknowledging it to be the art that it is, and allowing people to see that, not maybe the meaning, just because of how you do what you do, the meaning is always going to be there, and it's not going to be, it's still going to be art. It's not going to be commercialized. Like, and I know that's kind of your fear, is like, you don't want it to be commercialized. You don't want it to be in your face and obvious kind of meaning. You want it to be truly art. And I don't think having that sort of information on the background and the creation will take away from the meaning of what's being said.
That's good, bro. I wrote some of that down. So I have to credit you on the postcard. I'll put like a little small print on the bottom of the postcard and be like, this was Robert's idea. Like, some people can know I didn't come up with that. But yeah, no, bro. I think you're right. There's something that really bothers me about marketing, to be fair, in the way that, you feel like sometimes you have to edit the art, or edit you know, what you're doing in order to try and please, this mass appeal thing. But I think, you know, kind of maturing a little bit, like in business,
It's
like,
I don't think of it as marketing. I think of it as communicating in a way that people can hear.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about your idea, what you just said. I'm just talking about marketing in general, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because I think what you said is important. And yeah, I think, I don't know, commercialization is an interesting thing because, like, at the end of the day, like, if you make something, you know, that you regard as beautiful, but no one wants to wear it, it's a bit like, what have you just done? But I think, you know, for everything that you know, pour your heart and soul into, there will be people that, you know, have the lens to see that. And it won't be everyone. But I think, like, as long as you can be happy with reaching the people that you'll reach, then, you know, that's good enough. But I think definitely, like, looking forward, it's good to be around, you know, people like yourself and people who just have that mind, do you know what I mean, of like how to scale. Because I think, you know, it would be inappropriate to try and scale now while I'm in full-time education. Like, it's quite difficult. And it's been nice just to kind of like have this business alongside like my studies in order to kind of like, you know, keep it going. And it's been a nice like kind of source of income as well, like a second source of income. But yeah, it's I think, like, bro, in all honesty, like, it's amazing now, kind of like at this graduation age, which I feel like we're at, to see, like, I'm seeing now some of the artists that have graduated from this university and like what they're doing, even people who didn't do art or fashion and are starting their own businesses and doing mad, like this brand, well, there's this like friendship group that I knew as kind of like the artist. And like I was kind of like seeing one of the girls in that group for a while. And like they're all so creative and they all make stuff and they're all like, I think like a few of them are like selling what they're doing. Or like I know two of them are. And it's just like, it's big. Do you know what I mean? Like these girls are like collaborating with Foot Locker, like having shops on Oxford Street, which is like the busiest street in like Europe. Yeah. And it's just like they're making power moves, man. It's really impressive to see, and it's good. It's like because you see, like, you follow these people on Instagram. Do you know what I mean? So you see them like building from like the ground up, and yeah, it's mad to see how quickly they've been able to do it. But I mean, like, just being in the same sphere as those. Now, I don't spend, you know, days talking back and forward with them, but like, yeah, just being able to have a look in and see what they do, it motivates me. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, wow, like these people are working so hard, like they're dropping like every month or whatever, and it's like, that's amazing. Like, you know, I should I should start working a bit more, but I know at the time now it's not the right time at the moment, I don't think.
Yeah, and that's something that for me, I was excited to film this, you know, today with you, because the way you're viewing what other people are doing, I know a lot of people are viewing what you're doing, and to kind of get this time to hear the story at the beginning, right? You've been doing this for a little bit, but it's still the beginning, and to get this all on camera right now. And then see where you're at in 1, 2, 5 years, man. I'm excited to be part of the journey. Yeah, it's awesome,
bro. Yeah, man. And you know, I appreciate you being a part of it and wanting to be in a part of it early on. Do you know what I mean? Because not everyone jumps on the bandwagon like early on. You know, when you're just like starting like doing things, it's kind of like, oh yeah, we'll kind of like see how it goes. Do you know what I mean? If it pops off, like, yeah, maybe we'll take an interest in it. And I don't shame people for that. Do you know what I mean? Because I've been like that. Do you know what I mean? Like I watch people start up their own things, and I'm kind of like, ooh, like I wonder how that's going, kind of thing. Like, or like I wonder kind of, you know, what it'll become, but I don't necessarily get fully behind it. But I think more recently, when I see people like starting up their entrepreneur stuff, you know, whether they're artists, musicians, it's always good to support them and kind of like, you know, encourage them to grow, because, you know, they might be the Kanyes and the Drakes of the future. Do you know what I mean? You just don't know. Like, they might be the Anthony Misters, the Yves Saint Laurents. Like, of tomorrow. And so it's just like, that's not why I support them. Do you know what I mean? I support them because I feel like they're loved. Do you know what I mean? And I want them to feel support from me. But it's also exciting to see like, wow, like what can happen through these people. Like I wonder what they can be.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate your time. And I'm looking forward to what happens next. And I feel like there's a Cosmo article coming out soon, or will be coming out soon about Tatya.
It's all top secret, bro. It's all top secret.
All right. Look, so, always, man. Always a pleasure.
Bro, amen, man. And honestly, it's been good to share the floor with you, man. I think yeah, I've been thinking I'm putting this up on like a YouTube channel, bro. Like I feel like this could be the start of like the TATYA Verse YouTube channel. Do you know what I mean? TATYA Verse episode 1. Do you know what I mean? And then like we'll just do like a series, because it would be good to kind of like do like longer interviews. I'm always intrigued, like the JBP podcast.
Yep.
I think there's someone Williamson. Is he called Josh Williamson?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy, I don't know. I'm all for the 2-3 hour talks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Haven't had time to watch much recently, but man, definitely can get down to some long form interviews.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm down, Brian. And like I said, I'm grateful for your time as well. Should we close in prayer, bro, and then we'll leave it at that.
I think anyone who's watched this and enjoys it and wants to hear more, you have more video. Do you still have videos up on your Instagram of some of the story, or?
I don't think so, actually. I've kept a lot of stuff in the archive, but I might bring some stuff out.
Okay. Well, Instagram seems like the #1 way for people to follow what you're doing in your next moves and hear about drops and things like that, right?
Yeah. Instagram is #1 way.
Yeah. All right. If you want to close in prayer, then man.
Awesome, bro. All right, Lord, thank you for this opportunity, man, to speak with Rob. It's been so good. I pray for what we're doing, guys. And where we're going. I pray that we'll keep pure and keep each other like kind of like accountable for what we're doing. But yeah, no, I thank you for your grace and your understanding, and your depth, your range of kind of the amount of things that the Lord come into your personality that can be put across in different forms, like art, productivity, business, God, whatever it is. Lord, I thank you that you use your people. In Jesus' name, amen. Awesome, bro.
Talk to you later, man.
Stay blessed, man. And I'm sure we'll be in touch soon.
Yes, we will.
Send me this recording, bro.
All right, we'll do.